All right. All right. All right. It is Tuesday night. So, I'm going to let the electrons flow throughout the universe and wait for a couple of people to join us before we kick this off. It's a pretty decent day out today. Actually, it was beautiful. Sun is just now setting. I happen to live on a golf course, and they had a machine out there today grinding down this hedge, this giant bushy hedge that was along the 13th green. That basically my house looks out down the 13th fairway, and this hedge, I didn't even realize how much it had encroached on the fairway until they ground that thing back. So it's ground back now. All right, Tuesday night. Welcome. It is Facebook Live. So tonight I've got a special guest. He's one of the members of the Facebook group, Troy Childress. He was born and raised in and around or in the proximity of Charleston, South Carolina. He joined the Air Force back in December of '95, and he attended basic at Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. So Troy came in undesignated, and he was headed towards security forces. But while he was in basic, he injured himself. He tore some ligaments in one of his legs, and was held back on medical leave for a little bit. So by the time when he got healed up, it was in the Air Force's best interest to make him a firefighter. So off to firefighter school he went, and he was stationed at Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina. He had joined the Air Force to see the world and get around, and was kind of steered right back to where he came from, or at least a little ways down the road, right? He spent 4 years there at in Shaw Air Force Base, and then decided, hey, I think the college life is the direction I want to go. So he transitioned out of active duty, went into the reserves, and attended college. He was activated. His reserve unit was activated for 9/11. So in the end, he spent 5 years active duty, 3.5 years as a reserve. But while he was in the reserves, he trained up and transitioned into being a youth pastor. He also completed qualifications and certifications with a master's in counseling and became a school counselor. Currently, he's working as a supervisor of manufacturing, building electric buses, which is pretty cool. So tonight, we're going to discuss his experiences with counseling students and adults, and he's going to share some tools and techniques to counter depression and anxiety. So it's with great pleasure, Troy. Welcome to the broadcast.
Appreciate that, Darren. Thanks for that nice welcome as well. So
Yeah.
kind of an eclectic background and story, but
Yeah, I think we've all got some and I hyphenated some, or I truncated some of that, right?
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always good stories, more to tell.
Sure, absolutely.
So hey, let's talk a little bit about about some of the tools and techniques that you would recommend to anybody that's battling depression, battling anxiety, or even honestly, a few of these are just things that anybody could
Right.
use or benefit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just a caveat with that, in grad school, we had to we picked our line of study, I guess you can. And I decided to study PTSD. So I did a lot of research while I was in grad school on PTSD. And so that's kind of, I guess, what gave me a little bit of an insight to some different things. It helped a lot in school counseling because while students weren't struggling with PTSD, a lot of them struggle with anxiety and depression, which we know those are onsets of or symptoms of PTSD. So a lot of things that we can talk about really cover all of those bases, whether it be depression, anxiety, PTSD, those kind of things. So
Yeah, definitely good points.
So I think first we want to get into physical activity. Is that
Yeah.
what we start
Yeah,
with?
let's talk about that. I mean, you and I discussed a little bit, and maybe you can get into kind of some of the chemicals and or what happens in your body. I mean, we've all probably heard, oh yeah, exercise, 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 but uh some people um don't like exercise, but
Right.
there's benefits to it, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the first word that comes to mind when you're talking about exercising is the endorphins that it releases, uh, the, the the things that it does to your mental state of mind. Um, and I think most of us can relate to getting out of the rhythm of being in the service and having to exercise, and we get uh, used to not doing something. I'll use the L word, lazy. I know I for one can attribute my own lifestyle as becoming a little lazy at times. Um, you can do a simple Google search, and there's a lot of research out there on the benefits of exercise itself. And we're not talking anything crazy. Walking, some sort of anabolic exercise, walking, running, cycling, those kind of things. I know we got some guys that probably have some physical limitations, and they're like, "Well, I can't go out and run a marathon." Well, we're not saying to run a marathon. It's just doing something to get that heart rate pumping, because when the heart rate starts pumping and our blood starts flowing, we just feel better naturally as our body starts working through those things. There's also the physical things that happen as far as you get in better shape. The longer you go into your exercise, weeks, months, years, you get into better physical shape. We're in better physical shape. We feel better about ourselves, and that's that natural thing that kind of happens. But the biggest thing for me, I think, is that the endorphins that it releases, and um, just making you feel better about yourself. So I'll use this as an example of going out for a run. Now I know we all can't go for a run, but you get out, you start running, and the first couple of meters or whatever it is, you're feeling kind of crummy, especially that first time you go out there. It's like I want to quit, I want to stop. But the more you push yourself, you get into that run. And Darren, I think you're a runner as well, so you probably can relate to some of this.
Hell yeah.
The more you get into it, the better you start feeling, and you kind of overcome that hump we call, that you hit the wall sometimes. And once you
Yeah.
break through the wall, you start feeling better while you're on that run. And I think physical exercise itself just does a lot for us on that mental aspect. We,
Yeah,
well, good.
I yeah, let me throw in a little bit about that run part, so I've run a marathon. I ran one marathon in my life, but I ran about 4 or 5 of them in the training, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Building up to that one. But when I started, I only started because this guy convinced me he needed somebody as a training partner, and I thought, dude, I've been a little bit lazy, I've slacked off since I retired. So I said, yeah, okay, I'm not going to run a marathon, but I'll go out and train with you. And I'm telling you that first couple of times that that first mile and a half, my body is telling me, dude, what are you doing, man? If you turn around now, you'll have done 3 miles. Your self chatter is trying to talk you out of it, but you keep on going, man. And like you said, you hit that wall, you bust through it, and I could run all day. I mean, and a benefit on the backside after I started breaching like the 3 mile, the 5 mile, the 10, hitting the 10 mile marks in my runs, I felt phenomenal like all day. I mean, I would go out and run in the morning, like just at the break of dawn to get my run in before I went to work. And I had, I had energy. It was just a great feeling, man. I mean, it sucked getting started. I'm not gonna kid anybody,
Yeah.
but once I was in it, I was golden.
So you hit the nail on the head as far as that's concerned, and you get over that hump. You run once or twice, 3 times. You start creating that habit of running. It's kind of the same thing with the wall. A lot of guys don't like working out by themselves.
Yeah.
So there's an organization called Team Red, White, and Blue. They're nationwide. and they utilize exercise as an opportunity to get veterans together. To this, we all, most of us, I think most of us miss the camaraderie we have as far as being in the military. I know that's one of the biggest things I miss about being around the guys and girls. Just that group of people. The fire department was a tight knit group of people, and we did everything together. And so
Yeah.
we exercised together, we hung out together, we worked together, we saved lives together. So it was that whole piece. Well, Team Red, White, and Blue uses that mindset of being in the military and exercising. So they run, they walk, they do different type of weightlifting things, and they'll have organization or meetings within your area to do different stuff. So I know you got the website on the bottom down there. You click on there and you type in your zip code, and they'll tell you the closest place for you to be able to just to check in and connect with that group. A lot of gyms have gone to veteran stuff where they'll give veterans free gym membership or discounted gym memberships. Sometimes they hang out together. I think you got a piece about that as well.
Yeah, every place I've ever been, the gym will always knock something off for veterans, and I don't know if like Gold's Gym and all of them have like a a national program, but always ask that, and there's you can search local running clubs, local heck, I mean, even if you're not a runner, which right? I mean, we've talked about that, but there's swimming,
Yep.
there's volleyball,
Yep.
there's baseball, softball, tag football, right? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Basketball, heck,
Yep.
even tennis, man, badminton. There's all kinds of. Just Google that stuff, and you can find anything to get out there and get your heart rate up. Like Troy
Yep.
said, it's great for you.
Yeah.
So let's Troy, let's jump over to let's talk about breathing techniques, right? That's another kind of passion of mine, and I know you've got some information to share there.
Absolutely. So I believe it was Courtney that you had on last time, and she was
Yeah,
talking about SEL or not SEL, mindfulness. Excuse me. So
yeah,
mindfulness, the state of knowing where you are. Being mindful of everything that's happening within your body, and so mindfulness is a big thing we push in education with our kids who come in and they're struggling with anxiety. So we use social emotional learning, and so we bring that focus of students being aware where they are. Well, it's the same thing for us as veterans and just people in general being mindful. Well, part of that is breathing. And, you know, a lot of us are macho guys and I'm not going to breathe. I don't want to breathe. So we have some of that macho-ness in us. I sent you a link that's on there with some different techniques. I sit down with my students from middle school to high school. And I've even shared some of this with some adult friends as well about just breathing. And there's several different techniques. There's one called the box technique, which I'll talk about real quick. It's a simple technique. The first step would be slowly inhaling. And so what you're doing when you're inhaling, you're also feeling your body and what's happening. So you're inhaling, you're feeling your lungs kind of grow and fill with air. The next step would be, I'm sorry, that's slowly exhale. I got backwards. So slowly exhaling, you're feeling it all come out. Then the reverse is you're going to inhale, count to 4 as you're breathing and you're feeling your body and just kind of what happens to your body when you inhale and your lungs grow. At that point in time, you're going to hold your breath. So you hold your breath to count of 4. And so you're drawing a box as you're doing this in your head. And I actually tell the students to draw the box so they know which step they are with their finger. So you hold your breath to a count of 4, and then you'll exhale. Same thing for a count of 4 on that exhale. And you just do that. You repeat that for a certain period of time. I mean, some do it 1, 2, 3 minutes, just until you feel your heart rate go down. And breathing, which I know you have a really good technique as well that you like to talk about. But breathing, not only does it bring your heart rate down, for a lot of our kids would come in with struggling with anxiety. So whether it be shaking, not being able to capture their emotions, when we get them to start breathing, at that point in time, they will the heart rate goes down, and they're able to kind of remove themselves almost from whatever the situation was, and they find that sense of centerness, and then we're
Yeah.
able to kind of work through whatever it was.
And I think too, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot when people are suffering like an anxiety attack, a lot of times they're super shallow breathing, right?
Yes.
Right? They don't even realize it. They don't even know it until you bring their which that stimulates the fight or flight emotion, especially if they're mouth breathing, right?
Yep.
So there's so breathing is incredibly something I've discovered is incredibly powerful. Um, and as it says on the banner down here, belly breathing, something when you do those breaths that Troy was talking about, you should concentrate to breathe like a baby breathes. If you ever seen a baby laying there, a baby breathes with his belly. You'll see they'll force their belly out and fill their lungs. So if I tell you, hey, take a deep breath, most people will actually squeeze their belly and they'll just fill up their lungs. But you're really not getting a full breath. If you actually force your belly out, your belly button out, you get a whole lot more air. Actually, you're increasing the volume of your lungs. So anyway, belly breathing, nose breathing, right? Vice mouth breathing. Nose breathing does a couple of things for you. One, it draws in, and I forget the acid. There's an acid that your body secretes. Maybe we'll maybe you can Google it, Troy.
Yeah, I thought I had it here because as you said that, it jogged that memory. But
Yeah, but that's another your body is a super complex machine, right? I mean, it's a bunch of systems. And when you start gooning around with one system or the other, it affects all the other systems. So anyway, nose breathing is a natural calming activity when you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. So one of the breathing techniques that I wanted to share was one that I've practiced for I'm going on 3 years now. It's called the Wim Hof method, and I've talked about it before I believe in the group, and I've posted a few of Wim Hof's things. This guy it is incredible in himself, but the breathing program that he has is super super calming. I actually get euphoric. I mean, literally, my wife was like, "Oh boy." When I'd get done breathing, I was like the Huggy Bear, man. I was like, "Oh." I loved everybody and everything. I mean, it was awesome. And so he actually developed it uh, out of horrible circumstances. His wife committed suicide when he had 4 kids, and it actually drove him to seek um, a way, one, to prevent that from happening ever again, and and to and to make people happier and healthier. So Wim Hof has got an awesome story. It's an awesome method, and actually his method involves more than just breathing. It's breathing, uh, being concentrated, being yourself in yourself, and cold exposure. And trust me, it took me a little bit to get into the cold exposure part, but I do that too now. So,
yeah, it was nitric oxide.
there you go. Yeah, nitric oxide.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the meditation yoga stuff, maybe.
Absolutely. So, um, the one of the things that I think has been interesting in my studies or research or looking up other veterans and what they do. A lot of SF guys utilize meditation, and so what you were talking about with breathing and belly breathing and those kind of things. A lot of things with meditation is it your body. It talks about feeling your body, feeling the motion, so feeling the breathing, feeling your body. This is also part of being centered and mindful of what your body's doing, feeling your body kind of float or reach the floor, all of your weight kind of go down to the floor. So you're just able to recognize what your body is doing. Our body is an amazing piece of art and the things that it's able to do. So when you're meditating, you're kind of getting to a state where you're understanding that, but you're also separating yourself from all the distractions. There are a ton of free apps. There are apps you can pay for. You can go on YouTube, and there are a lot of self-guided meditation. There's a lot of self-guided meditation that you can use. I'm all for the free stuff. I don't want to pay for something that I don't need to. So I found plenty of them on YouTube. I've gotten to the point where at night, especially those nights where I can't turn the mind off, and I'm sitting there laying thinking about either what happened today or what I got to do tomorrow, I'll put on a little YouTube self meditation and just kind of work through it, telling you how to breathe, telling you what to think. And it's guiding you through that meditation and allowing you just to kind of break away. And for me, I've had some of the best sleep. I probably should do it more often than I do, but I've had some of the best sleep because of meditation. And a lot of guys that are in the sandbox, they're seeing a lot of this junk that they see when they're able to break away and meditate. They talk about a lot of whether it be on Instagram or Facebook, a lot of guys are talking about it and how it's just helped them work through the stuff that they're seeing and that they're supposed to be doing over there.
Yeah. So I'm one of those guys too, man, that I was like, meditate. I'm not gonna meditate. It was raw. My wife is always, oh, meditate. You should. And honestly, she can click into it that fast, right? I still to this day, years later of practicing meditation, I have a hard time going down that. And I'm sharing this because some people will have difficulty getting into that, or where they feel like they're in the meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
So like Troy said, there's multiple ways to get there, and there's lots of resources out there. I mean, you can use music like Troy talked about. You can use visual. I actually am the most successful staring at a candle in a dark room. I squint my eyes and so that I can just see like the figures that come off of that flame, and I just concentrate on that, and whoosh, everything goes calm. The squirrels stop.
Yep.
It's a great way. And then I fall into my breathing and I do other things, but it's another one is imagining if you sit in a chair, you close your eyes and you imagine that the room is filling with water, right? With warm water. And you just imagine that water starting at the base of your feet and just rising up your legs, rising up your body, all the way up your body, all the way over your head. And as you imagine that feeling all the way up, and by the time it gets up to over your head, that's all you're thinking about. I mean, you're calm, right? And so you're breathing through your nose and you relax. So anyway, there's, like Troy said, there's a myriad of different processes, and just try, try. If something doesn't work for you, if the music doesn't work or the visual doesn't work, or there's tons and tons of them out there to give it a shot.
My son was trying to come in and join us today. So
that's all right.
So one of the things, here's another technique with that we use. So this is just a plastic bottle, and we put glitter in there with a little bit of liquid soap. And so we'll have the kids shake it up. And then if you can see how the glitter falls down.
Yeah.
So we have to concentrate on the glitter while, and honestly, just breathe normal. And while they're concentrating on the glitter and how it falls, naturally their breath, they're meditating on this, and it slows their breath down. It's amazing to see just what a few seconds of doing this will do to that by meditating on the glitter itself. So another little, and they sell this stuff as well, but it's easy to make. But absolutely,
yeah, for a couple of bucks at the at Hobby Lobby or something, you've got all you need.
Absolutely.
if you got any kids, you probably have more glitter than you know what
You
to do
want.
with
Yes,
anyway.
absolutely. Yes, yeah, yeah. With a 7-year-old, it can be pretty messy. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll let me. Oh, I have been delinquent on comments, so let me just touch a couple here. Let's see. Yeah, yep. I've got a discounted membership at the gym. Pickleball. There's
Yeah,
pickleball.
yeah,
Volleyball.
yes.
What's the? I used to
Yeah,
play racquetball.
yeah,
Never any good at it, but I loved it.
yep.
Um, let's see. Somebody says I need any and all breathing techniques right now. And yep, somebody did answer with the lactic acid.
Yep.
I couldn't remember that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
great part.
I'm gonna wrap this up. We're right about the end of our time, unless anybody's got any comments or any particular questions. Um, Troy, thank you, man, for spending your evening with us. And great information, great input. I greatly enjoyed talking with you.
Absolutely. Same here. Same here.
All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna say good night, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.